you guys about the cultural and historical significance of Papel Picado first, and so you guys can get a sort of background of what it is and why it's important. And then I'm going to show you guys how to make some. So we'll go ahead and let Anna go.
Okie doke. Well, I'll turn on my camera so you guys can see my face. It's not very, it's a Monday. But thank you all so much for being here with us. I'm really excited to talk a little bit about the cultural and historical significance of Papel Picado. So, for those of you who don't know, Papel Picado literally means punched or I can't ever say that word, perforated paper. So it is a art, it's a form of art, it's a folk art that's found throughout Mexico, but it has history and background from all over, including China, Spain, Europe, all those countries. And so it has a long history. In Mexico, it is a huge expression of our culture, where you can see Papel Picado at major holiday events and things like that. And it's in the form of these brightly colored cut tissue paper, and we usually string those or put them as banners, and they string under in your homes, across your street, decorated. You hang it wherever you can hang it, but it's just a beautiful expression, and a lot of times it bears a message, both sacred and very significant. And so you'll see a lot of that, especially right now, when we get into the Dia de los Muertos celebrations. You'll see a lot of that with calaveras and skulls and things like that, that have just very, very significant meanings. You also see them at celebrations such as baptisms, weddings, funerals. I know we've used them for birthday parties and things, like pretty festive events that we have. And again, of course, throughout Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, Christmas, any of those, Dia de la Independencia, things like that. So the materials that we use, and Sarah's going to go through those, but it's typically tissue paper. And, if you leave it out, it eventually, with the sun, the wind, and the rain, it could easily disintegrates. But so it's hard to find any historic, examples of this art form. So like I mentioned, it has its origins from European, Asian traditions. And so even from when paper was actually like discovered or created, and so that making its way through China and through our European countries, especially through Spain, and even some of the Islamic cultures. And so it's kind of gone through all over our world. But when Spain arrived in Mexico, they found that something of a way of creating paper was already in existence through the times of the Aztecs. So even in the times of Aztecs, you kind of see this new form of making paper and things like that. And so in Mexico, they would create paper by mashing the pulp of bark and fig and mulberry trees between rocks, and then they would dry that, and then they would use knives to make the different designs and things like that. And it was mostly ceremonial, for Aztec gods and goddesses, and practices like that. And so it has very, very historical, very origin starts. And so as the Spanish introduced their culture and language, their religion, their tools and designs to Mexico, you start seeing the production of this papel picado. And so, as I said, in Mexico, it has very deep origins, part of our history and our culture. And you start seeing that in America as well, at least the process. And a lot of times it can be, you see it sold in numerous ways, and people will display it. And so it should never be looked at as like a cheap or just something to have to decorate, but always, if you're going to use papel picado, to understand that it has that it has meaning behind it. And so if you can create your own papel picado with whatever shapes and designs, that brings even more significance to it, especially if you're celebrating, a certain type of ceremony or special occasion and things like that. So, let's see. So there's different techniques, obviously, and Sarah's going to show you the technique that she has developed. But some folks will use scissors, while there's also some that will use knives in order to create it. And so we're really excited to have this opportunity to learn a way to create this beautiful piece of art, folk art. And so Sarah, if you will show us how to do it, I think it'll be really fun.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that presentation on this historical significance. I'm going to share with you guys how to make papel picado. And usually how it would work is, well, let me go ahead and share my super fancy document camera here. So usually they would have a template that they would carve or draw design onto, and we're going to use something really super simple here. And then they would have a stack of tissue paper in one or several different colors. And this is what you guys will get or would have gotten in your kit, is the template and a bunch of paper. And so we're going to stack them all together. And then we're going to bend the paper and make sure that it's bent in a way that is so that the template is all on one. So don't like bend it in half, because as you can see, if it's bent in half, then the template will be sort of damaged. So bend it so that the template will all be on one side. And now we're going to cut that other part off. Your kit did not come with scissors because we can't put sharp objects in the mail. So you're going to have to find scissors on your own. Your kit did, though, come with a roll of tape, roll of masking tape. So now what you're going to do is you're going to put the pieces of all of them, you're going to fold all of the pieces of tissue paper in half. And then put the template on top in such a way that the template falls on all of the tissue paper. So if the template starts here, make sure that the tissue paper starts where the template starts. Does that make sense? So the template, for instance, starts right here on the paper, and so I'm going to put the tissue paper down a little bit on the paper, on the template paper. If that makes sense, and I'm not just rambling. If you want, you can bend the template over a little bit onto the tissue paper. There we go. So that now it looks like this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use the tape. Let's find the, I should have done this before. We're going to find the end here on the tape. And then we're going to tape all of the template and the tissue paper together so that it's all one big thing. Hold on, I messed up. So as you can see, I've left a little bit of tape on the end here, and then I'm going to bend it over. I've left a little bit of tape here on the end here, and I'm going to bend it over. And now I'm going to bend this over. And because I bent this paper over, I'm also going to tape that part of the template to the tissue paper, because I really want it to stick. Because when we're cutting, we want to make sure that the template really sticks to the tissue paper. So now we're going to start cutting. And we're not going to cut this outside part first. We're actually going to start cutting the inside parts. And in order to start cutting the inside parts, we're going to need to bend the paper. So we're going to bend the paper a little bit, like in half here. And then we're going to cut like, I don't know if you can see. It's not cutting. Probably use sharper scissors. So we're going to cut half of the shape to make the diamond, to cut the diamond out. And you're going to do that for all three of these. And you're going to also do that for the circle shapes. You're just going to bend it in the middle and then cut around. These larger shapes would be probably easier to see. So for this large shape right here, we're going to bend it down the middle here, and the whole thing down the middle. And I mean, it looks kind of bad when you're done, so you can kind of make it look better once you're done. But you're gonna do that for the whole thing, and then once it's done, once all the middle parts are done, then you're gonna cut out the ends around here, and make sure to clean up all the little pieces. I should have had one already prepared, but I didn't, so I'm sorry. Should have had one like they do in those cooking shows where they're like, this is the process, and then they bring one out and they're like, and this is what it looks like finished. I should have done that, but I guess I didn't. So that's what it means, and each one of these, I mean, I can't flip through it because it's bent. Each one of them is going to be cut now. And so you'll make as many, you'll make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You'll make 10 banners at a time. And so at the end, when this is all over with, you'll be able to make a banner to string up. And you can use the tape to string it up. All you have to do is bend this in half and just string it up and string it up and string it up and string it up and string it up. Or you can use string and literally string them, just tape them on the string. But that's why I gave you a whole roll of tape, was in case you wanted to use the tape to string them up. But yeah, now you can make your own little banners of Papel Picado. And some of you will have different, there's 3 that have this pattern and 4 that have a different pattern. So, but they're easy to do. It's not like those very intricate patterns. The ones that are very intricate, they don't use scissors. They use a punching press, and it will, like hydraulic press, will just press down on stacks and stacks and stacks, and yeah. So this is a fun paper craft that you can do over and over and over again, and you can even print some out from Pinterest or Google and do it over and over and over again. These tissue papers I bought off of Amazon. So yeah, that's how to do it. I'm sure you don't want me to go through cutting. I wouldn't want to watch me cutting this whole time. Does anybody have any questions? We can use the rest of the time for a Q&A. So that's a good question. So you can use the tape and all you have to do is, you can literally string up the tape and then put, let's say this is the banner, and then you would string up the banner on a half. if you can see that. Half of the tape is on the banner and half of the tape is not on the banner. And then you either put the half that's still tape on something, or you just fold it over. And then keep stringing, and then put another banner over here, and then keep stringing, and then put another banner over here. Does that make sense? That's how you use the tape anyway. You can also do the same thing with string and tape. But that's why I gave you a whole roll of tape. Yes, there's one more in November. It's painting rocks. And we're thinking about doing more in the spring. We're thinking about it. I'm not sure. That's a good question, Naomi. If you want to sign up for that one, let me get you the... If you want to sign up for Gratitude Rocks, which is the next one, please sign this form. I don't know where I am. Here I am. I love arts and crafts too. That's why I'm doing this. Yes, that's what Gratitude Rocks is specifically for. It's at the end of the semester when we're all just too stressed to do anything else. And so I give you guys a white rock. It's already prepped for you guys to paint. And I give you guys some paint markers, and you guys write your gratitude, whatever you're grateful for. And we do some stress relieving exercises. So that's what the next one is going to be.
Awesome. Sarah, do you want me to stop recording?
Yes.